If a person intentionally desecrates a copy of the Quran, that action results in imprisonment as punishment in some countries and might result in a death penalty in even Afghanistan and places like Saudi Arabia and Somalia and Pakistan. Once again, beloved, I greet you and I welcome you to u.s.a Media. My name is Stephen, and you know for sure that whenever I get in my seat here, it's about dismantling those several assertions that has been made against Christianity since time immemorial. Well, we actually going to react on an action that was taken by David Wood. Well, I would request that you wouldn't try this in any Islamic community or Islamic ummah or Islamic country. Or that is, let me say, disrespectful. Though being a Christian, I know the Quran isn't the word of God. Or get to me per my studies, I get to know that the Quran isn't from God. And according to the Quran, my Bible is also not from God. I'll be getting with me. Well, how do we speak with each other? In matters of misunderstanding like this, we just try our possible best to convince each other by studying. You understand? But me not being a Muslim and you not being a Christian doesn't mean I should disrespect you or you should disrespect me. Maybe some people take actions based on what people says or other religions says. Perhaps people has been hearing from Muslims saying that the Quran is very holy. Even most Muslims say that the Quran itself is Allah, because the Quran is Allah's word. Thus, Allah's word must be Allah himself. Thus, maybe some people may try to do something to the Quran to let you know that the Quran is a mere book and it isn't having any power on its own. Well, that's exactly what I think David Wood did, but I will tell you to not try this wheresoever you are. We're taking a quick break and we are returning to watch this reaction or action of David Wood. You're welcome back, beloved. May God richly bless you for waiting for us. Yes, we're going to watch this video. In this video, David Wood is actually, desecrating a copy of the Quran. He's desecrating a copy of the Quran. He's eating it live on camera. Let's watch him. Beloved, that's exactly what I was talking about. And I think, yes, if the Quran was having any power at all, if the Quran itself is Allah, then we might say that he chewed Allah. I'll be getting with me. He chewed a copy of Allah. Or is it the actual Quran that was revealed by the Prophet Muhammad? That is Allah himself, or any copy of the Quran is Allah. Well, this maybe he was doing to prove that the Quran is a mere book, okay? It's a mere paper or something like that. Well, that action, I wouldn't tell you to repeat it wheresoever you are. I'll be getting with me. According to my search, I came across the idea that if a person intentionally desecrates a copy of the Quran, that action results in imprisonment as punishment in some countries and might result in a death penalty in even Afghanistan and places like Saudi Arabia and Somalia and Pakistan, or even up to life imprisonment in Pakistan, according to Article 295B of the Penal Code. I'll be getting me. So, according to this research I made from Wikipedia Encyclopedia, yes, if a person tries this in any Islamic community, surely they're going to be put to death, or you're going to be sentenced. you're going to be put in jail for your whole life. Or get to remain. You're going to be sentenced for your whole life imprisonment. Or get to or in prison. It isn't good for you to do that. Yet we have to be challenging, or we have to be arguing, we have to be debating, but we don't have to be going that extent. Or we get to David Wood. I think maybe you have your reason, but that isn't a good procedure. I beg you, that isn't a good procedure. If a person says the Bible contains no power and they begin to do the same thing you did to the Quran, to the Bible, I don't think you're going to buy that idea. This one, I do not support you. Well, let's watch the video again. You get that? So that's exactly what I was talking what I was talking about. Yes, I know the Quran is the Muslim says the Quran is the word of Allah, and surely they says most says that the Quran itself is Allah. Maybe that is the reason David Wood did what he did, but I don't think it's a good idea. You don't have to repeat it. I'll be get to remain. Well, and again, if I go to encyclopedia. Wikipedia encyclopedia, I have some information to give you that says in Islamic law, believers must not damage the Quran and must perform a ritual washing before touching it. You see, even if the Muslim wants to touch the Quran, they perform some ritual washing. You get that? They will have to, that's exactly what is termed as ablution. They will have to wash their legs, their feet, their fingers, their arms, and also they wash their mouth, their ears, and everything before they touch the Quran. They revere it a lot. They see it to be some supernatural book. So if you do it, if you do this to it, seriously, you are messing around with their passion. You are messing around with their emotions and all that. Yes, though the Quran is a mere book, being a Christian, that is what I believe. But that doesn't give me the audacity to disrespect Muslims to that extent. Or because maybe David would have a reason toward why he did what he did, but I wouldn't advise you to do that as a Christian. Wheresoever you are, you have to be reasoning with Muslims, just as I do over here, but I will not ever tell you to do that to the Quran. Well, if I continue, the information goes like, conversely, intentionally damaging copies is considered blasphemous in Islam. Yes, what David Wood did is considered blasphemous in Islam. So in Islamic countries, Islamic dominated countries, fancy Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia, and course, seriously, you would be imprisoned. You will be put to prison, okay, for your whole life, and also you can be put to death or something like that. So you have to be very careful when you're dealing with Muslims in such a manner. I'll be get to remain. It is a point of controversy whether non-Muslims should be made to follow Islamic law, and a sensitive topic in international relations, how it should be handled when Muslims demand adherence to Islamic Quranic practices by non-believers. You get that? So the disposal of worn copies is also of concern to Muslims. Even if the Quran, the copy of the Quran you have in, is worn out. You see, if they don't even want you to dispose it anyhow, because they treat it very special. They treat it as something that is very unique, very special, something that is very much important. So I think what I would not recommend what David Wood did, okay, because being a Christian doesn't give you the audacity to disrespect people or something like that. I call that a disrespectful act. Maybe David Wood have his own way of doing things, or David Wood actually have a reason toward what he did. But please, I won't buy that idea, and I won't sell that idea out to you. You have to be respecting Muslims no matter what, even though we know for sure that Muslims are not on the right path, but that doesn't mean we should disrespect them. Okay, their books and all that, all these helps us to disprove stuffs Muslims says outside there, but I don't think it is very much advisable to eat the Quran or to this to do whatever desecrate the Quran, a copy. Fancy what David Wood did over here. Well, let's again watch David Wood and we return and we close. So you see, beloved, we ended up here, and may God richly bless you for waiting for us. And you know what? People actually revere the Quran a lot, and maybe that's the reason. Okay, even people like the Jews, they revered their book a lot. Christians revere the Bible a lot. Muslims also revere their Quran a lot, and other religions also revere their books a lot. Or we get with me, and they wouldn't allow for you to be doing stuff like this to their books, even though you can try your possible best to debate them, argue with them, and all that, but you don't have to do stuff like that. When it gets to an extent where perhaps you are on the same platform with them, and there's the rise of a challenge, fancy the Quran is this or is this or that, then you do something to prove it. Or maybe that's exactly why David Wood did what he did. I stand to be corrected. Maybe something triggered what David Wood did, and maybe that would make it positive or something like that. But if it's not anything like that, but rather you're having a program on your own platform, and you tried to do this just to prove to Muslims that the Quran carries no power, I think that isn't advisable, and I wouldn't recommend this kind of behavior. May God richly bless you. Shall we meet up here once again some other time? Bye-bye.